NetSuite workbooks may seem overwhelming at first, but they don't have to be. Let's build a simple NetSuite workbook so you can see exactly what a workbook looks like in action. For this workbook, we'll be using the sample dataset that we created in a previous video. To create our workbook, first we'll go to the Analytics page and select the Workbooks tab. Then select the New Workbook button in the upper right-hand corner of that page. Then we'll select the dataset we created previously. Now that we have the basic workbook in place, let's start building it out and adding tabs to it. We're going to have 3 different tabs on this workbook, one for each visualization type. Let's make a table first. To create a table, select the table tile. We want this table to show us the companies we have provided quotes for and the sales reps that were involved with those companies. To accomplish this, we'll drag the entity field, type field, and sales rep field onto the table. As you can see, we now have over 11,000 rows in our table because our table includes both sales orders and quotes. To filter the results to include just quotes, select the 3 dots to the right of the type column header and choose Filter. In the pop-up box, move Quote from the left column to the right and select Apply. Setting this filter narrows down the results to just the ones that we're interested in seeing. Before we leave this table, let's set some conditional formatting. Suppose we want to highlight which customers do not have a sales rep assigned to them. To do this, select the 3 dots to the right of the sales rep column header and choose Conditional Formatting, Manage Conditional Formatting. In the pop-up box, we'll set the rule to is empty and choose to have a red flag appear when a sales rep is absent. Then we'll apply this formatting to our table. Notice that the quote filter has been applied and notice the occurrences of a couple red flags to signal that no sales rep has been assigned to those customers. And that's a table. Before moving on to the next visualization type, it's a good idea to name the tab you're on so you can easily understand what information is in this tab. It's also a good idea to go ahead and save the entire workbook so you don't accidentally lose any of your work. Next, let's create a pivot. To do that, select the plus sign to the right of the current tab name. Then select the pivot tile. For our pivot, we want to show the top 10 lead sources for our highest revenue customers. And at this point, when looking at our current dataset, we realize that we don't actually have that information in our dataset. So let's quickly edit the dataset and add that information. Select the 3 dots to the right of the dataset name, which is highlighted in blue, and choose Open Dataset. In the dataset, choose the record type entity customer and drag the field lead source onto the data grid. Then select the Apply to Workbook button at the top of the page. Now, back on our Pivot Workbook page, we're ready to use the lead source field. We'll drag the lead source field to the rows section, the entity and type fields to the columns section, and the revenue field to the measures section. Then we'll filter the lead source by the top 10. After refreshing the workbook page, here's what our pivot looks like. With this pivot, we can easily see what our top 10 lead sources are, as well as our top customers. Notice, however, that because we haven't filtered down the type of transaction, we have a column for both quotes and sales orders under each customer. But for this pivot, we only need to see sales orders. In order to do that, filter the type field to show only sales orders. After setting that filter, our pivot will look like this. Now that we're finished with the pivot, we can name this workbook tab and move on to our final tab. But before we do that, we need to address the warning sign to the left of the dataset name. When we added lead source to the dataset, we didn't actually save the dataset. To ensure that you don't lose your work, go ahead and save the dataset now by selecting the 3 dots next to the dataset name and choosing Save Changes. For our final workbook tab, select the plus button to add a new tab and choose the chart tile. Before we start adding fields to this chart, we need to figure out what kind of chart we want. The default chart is a column chart, but you could also use bar charts, area charts, line charts, and even various stacked charts. For this tab, though, we'll just use the default column chart. For our chart, we're interested in seeing some information on the results of one of our campaigns. Specifically, we want to see our highest revenue customers from that campaign. To get those results, we'll drop the campaign field in the x-axis section, the entity field in the series section, and the revenue field in the measures section. Then we'll need to filter the campaign field to the specific campaign we want to know more about and the entity field to the top 10 customers. Here's what our chart looks like. As with the other tabs, once we're satisfied with the results, we'll give this tab a descriptive name. Then we'll save the entire workbook again so we don't lose any work. And we'll probably want to share this workbook with specific individuals or certain roles, so we can go ahead and do that too. If you followed along and created this workbook in NetSuite, drop a comment to let us know how it went. And stay tuned for our next video in the SuiteAnalytics series about reports in NetSuite. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, let us know by hitting the like button. And to learn more about how SuiteRep can help you with all of your NetSuite needs, visit us at SuiteRep.com.